Welcome back to Millennial on Vacay. Today I'm sharing important tips and tricks for the Royal Caribbean's Navigator of the Seas. These tips will be super helpful if you are new to this ship or new to cruising in general. So let's go ahead and get started. This is going to be 5 important tips to help you with the Navigator of the Seas ship. This specific cruise was leaving from Long Beach, California. This was a 4-night cruise that traveled to Catalina Island and Ensenada, Mexico. This cruise ship ranges in price, depending on what time of year you decide to travel and room type. But the Navigator of the Seas for a 4-night itinerary usually ranges from $350 to $600 per person. Tip number 1. Choose your room deck wisely. This room was on deck 2, and this was a really cool perspective to be closer to the water. However, in order to get to the Windjammer Buffet or the pool deck, you have to go all the way to deck 11. Now, everyone knows that elevators get really busy on cruise ships, so definitely keep this in mind when booking your room. Definitely make sure to let your travel agent know your preference as soon as possible so there's no surprises once you get on the ship. But for this specific ship, if you would like to be closer to the buffet and the pool deck, definitely try to get closer to deck 11. If you would like to be closer to the promenade, aim for around deck 5. Tip number 2, opt for an early dining option. Now, if you're new to cruising, there is 2 time slots for formal dining each night. The dining hall is included in your cruise fare. This is a more elevated dining experience, usually a few nights with different themes, such as tropical night or formal dress-up nights. You aren't required to attend these formal dining nights, but it is a nice change to relax at night for a more calming dining experience compared to the buffet. That could be a little hectic. I always recommend right off the bat getting the early dining slot. And unfortunately, this cruise, I forgot to do that, and I did the later dining, which was 7:45 p.m. And the problem that you can run into here is there can be conflicting schedules of the entertainment that's happening on the boat with your nighttime dining. So if you're like me and you would rather see the shows and entertainment on board rather than the formal dining, you do have the option of going back to the buffet. It is typically open until 9 p.m. And even if you miss that dining, you still have Cafe Promenade on deck 5. This is also included in your fare, where there is unlimited pizza, desserts, and snacks, typically until 3 in the morning. So if you are more interested in seeing shows and entertainment, definitely opt for the early dining time. Tip number 3, things you'll have to carry. For any beverage packages you purchase, once you are on board, you'll need to find the closest bar or cafe promenade on deck 5 or a drink booth, usually located in the shopping center area. This is where you'll be able to pick up your Royal Caribbean cup. You will need this in order to use the freestyle soda machines. You will have to use this cup in order to access the soda machines because it has a chip at the bottom of it, so it activates the machine. Now, the problem you can run into is having to carry this cup everywhere you go, and it can be a little inconvenient. I really suggest bringing a small backpack to wear around the ship, or a lot of people will buy a drink carrier. You can find these on Amazon. I'll link them in the description below. So save yourself some headache from carrying around this cup everywhere and bring a small backpack or a drink holder with a strap. This is the way to go so it doesn't get in the way. Another thing that you'll have to carry around is your SeaPass card. Now, if you don't like pulling out your wallet or your purse every time you need to show your SeaPass, a lot of people will buy a lanyard for the convenience. Having a lanyard is a great way to not forget or lose your card. So I will leave a link in the description for this as well. Tip number 4. Extra bingo cards. A fun tip to remember is actually attending those smaller game shows and trivia shows that happen all around the ship. These are usually scheduled a few times throughout the day. Each trivia game will have pencils and paper to keep track of the game. Don't forget to keep these papers from the games. The ship will give you extra free bingo cards if you bring these. Bingo is always a great time on the ship, and we highly recommend you check it out. Tip number 5. You might be wondering what is included in your fare. First up is on the pool deck. This is just a free-for-all Mexican food bar with tacos, burritos, nachos, etc. This is a quick service restaurant that is easy to access on the pool deck. Speaking of the pool deck, you can also get soft serve ice cream. On the pool deck, you can enjoy free soft serve ice cream every day as many times as you like. Next is the Windjammer Buffet. This is located on deck 11, which is the same as the pool deck. The Windjammer Buffet serves breakfast, lunch, and dinner of all different types of foods and constantly rotating. Do keep in mind that the buffet stops serving food at 9 p.m. Next up on the list of what's included is Cafe Promenade, located on deck 5. This is also a great option that's included. There's lots of fresh pizza served along with sandwiches, snacks, and desserts. You also have access to coffee and tea. And lastly, each night in the main dining hall is included. This is a more formal dining setting with the server, which typically includes appetizer, main course, and dessert. This usually has some unique food options and also is a nice break from the crowds. And those are my 5 tips for the Royal Caribbean Navigator of the Seas. If you have any questions or need help booking your next cruise, please feel free to email me for a free quote.